The holidays are a wonderful time. Visiting with family and friends, all seems well, and in most cases it is. But more than any big pile of presents under the tree, the gift we want for our families is to be safe all year long. I say that because of the rash of crime the past few years, not just in the big cities, but throughout the country. It's a threat to everyone. Regardless of where you live, you care. And what's more, local governments have reduced the number of police. Budgets are tight, but a number of police have also resigned to move into private work, or maybe they've retired to do something that is safer for them. Maybe something where the justice system will actually have their back. All of which has led to more and more of us with a desire to better protect ourselves and our families. Tonight we have with us someone who has created what we think is an ideal self-protection solution. And he's also one of our sponsors. So we're joined now by the president and CEO of Byrna Technologies, Bryan Ganz. Bryan, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much, Governor.
You know, there's some exciting things going on with Burna. We've been talking about Burna on our show, both the weekend show and also our daily show. But something big has happened this year. You have announced that you will move most of the production of the Burna system all to the United States. So what all led to that decision to bring it home?
Well, we've always been proud to be an American company. Our manufacturing facility is in the heartland of America in Fort Wayne, Indiana. But this product was originally designed by an inventor in South Africa, and we started manufacturing in South Africa. We moved production or assembly of the launcher in 2020 up to the United States. But at that time, only 11% of our components came from the U.S. And when the pandemic hit and the supply chain disruption hit, our factory was down more days than it was running. And it was at that period of time that we said, you know what, if we want to produce a good quality product reliably, it has to be made here in America. And over the last 4 years, we've gone from 11% of our supply chain in the United States to 79% of our supply chain. And we were somewhat happy there until President-elect Trump was elected. And we said, you know what, he's really showing us the way. He believes that the right thing to do as patriotic Americans is to bring the production here. And I said to my team, within 6 months, I want to be out of China completely. Within 12 months, I want to be a 100% made in America product. We are moving heaven and earth to do this. But we feel that first, it's going to give us a much more reliable supply chain. You know, we can see just with what's happening in Syria, just the fragility of the world. And secondly, it's going to give us a higher quality product to know that every component is made here in the United States. And third, we're giving jobs to Americans. 5 years ago when we started, we had 10 employees. Today we have 175 employees, and we are rapidly growing.
You know, I think it's pretty significant. And a lot of people have criticized President Trump for saying he'll put tariffs on those who get their supplies from other countries. But the net result is that more and more companies like yours are saying, you know, if it's going to cost us more to ship it in, it's going to be less expensive in the long run to just do it here. But I loved what you said about the supply chain, because I think every one of us experienced an issue during the lockdowns and COVID. And we ordered something, and we would hear, it's on a boat, you know, it's in the harbor, it's on a ship somewhere. And it took forever to get simple things. Car dealers couldn't sell a car because maybe there was one component they were waiting on from typically China, and until that component came in, the whole car wouldn't work. I know when I got my first job as a teenager, I didn't get a lot of money. I was paid minimum wage working at a little radio station in Arkansas. I guess I wish they'd have paid me in gold. Had they done that, my goodness, it would have been worth a lot today. Well, nobody necessarily pays wages in gold, but the good news is you can actually own gold for yourself, and it's a good investment. It means that you have a hedge against inflation. It's always worth something, always has been. It's why when I buy gold and silver, I rely on the folks at American Hartford Gold. They're the one and only precious metals company that I can recommend, trust, and buy from. If you call or text, you can get a free no strings attached gold and silver information kit from American Hartford Gold. Learn how to protect your nest egg with a tax-advantaged gold IRA. And you could get up to $15,000 of free silver on qualifying purchases. Call them 844-417-1010 or text Mike to 998899 for a free information kit from American Hartford Gold.
And it ended up, Governor, really hollowing out the manufacturing base of America. There were certain types of components that you simply could not get in the United States. Now, we have said to a lot of our suppliers overseas, we are moving away. If you want to continue to be our supplier, move your production to the U.S., hire Americans. And I will tell you honestly, about half of our vendors have said they will move production to the U.S. They will hire Americans. So, you know, what President Trump needed to do was to get the ball rolling, to get it started, because we cannot afford to have no metal injection molded parts made in America. And for a long time, we had to go overseas to get those parts. Today, you can get those parts here in America. And I think it's really because of President Trump threatening the tariffs. And I'm completely supportive of this initiative.
You know, it's interesting that you are, because I hear a lot of CEOs of American companies who recognize that if we can do this in America, it's better. Bryan, I remember during World War II, when particularly Detroit, I often like to say, they saved America. We call them the arsenal of democracy. They took all of that manufacturing proficiency that they had to build cars, and they quickly retrofitted it to be able to make tanks and jeeps and airplanes and things that saved the world. And so when we talk about the arsenal of democracy, we're really talking about our ability to manufacture things, not being dependent upon people who don't like us, and ultimately being able to protect our own freedom. That's a lot of what you're going to be able to do by creating all of these products here at home, but your product is, in fact, protecting our freedom.
Yes.
And so that's what I want us to get into a little bit, because as you know, my wife and I got the Burna system. We have shown it to so many of our friends and family. At Thanksgiving, we had 45 people at our house, and we went out into the backyard and gave them a demonstration because we kept telling them about it.
So now I know why I'm getting those extra sales from Little Rock.
That's why they're coming, because all those family members said, this is great, for the exact reason that you hear every day at the company. People want to be able to protect themselves, but they really don't want to have to take a human life to do it. So let's get into the philosophy behind a less lethal, I guess we could call it a weapon, but less lethal. If you use it, you probably aren't going to kill anyone, but you will keep them from killing you.
Yeah. You know, the last time I was on the show with you, Governor, I think I shared an incident that I had a decade ago in a road rage incident where I got out of my car without my gun. And I got out of my car without my gun because I wasn't prepared to take a life over a road rage incident. Well, it drove home to me the fact that if you're not prepared to take that life, then of what value is the gun? It is not a prop. It is not something that you should pull out unless you're prepared to use it. This incident required something less than lethal force. The FBI has done an analysis, and they've said that only approximately 1% of confrontations actually require lethal force. So there has to be a better way to use non-lethal force to stop an assailant. And that was really behind the development of the Burna. We wanted to be able to deter an assailant, disarm an assailant, and disorient an assailant so that we have 20, 30 minutes to get away and call police. And that's really what we accomplished with the Burna system.
Personal safety has become a major concern. So wouldn't it be helpful to have a new and easy way to protect you and your loved ones? Well, one way to stop the threat without having to shoot and possibly kill someone is available. Hello, I'm Mike Huckabee, and I found exactly how to have full protection without lethal force. It looks like a gun, acts like a gun, but it shoots chemical irritants and kinetic rounds, not actual bullets. The name is Burna, B-Y-R-N-A. Now imagine being able to protect yourself without the legal or moral concerns of carrying an actual firearm. The Burna is legal in all 50 states. No background checks are required. and it can be shipped directly to your doorstep. Most importantly, it's built to immediately stop an attacker without taking a life. The peace of mind you have is free. It's easy to use and doesn't have the strong recoil that real guns have, and you don't need ear protection either. It's assembled by hand right here in the U.S., fully trusted by law enforcement, and oftentimes it only needs to be shown and not fired to turn an attacker away. Don't wait until something happens. Go to Byrna.com/Huckabee and learn more about this effective alternative to deadly force. 500,000 are out there already, and right now you'll get a special 10% discount too. That's Byrna with a Y, BYRNA.com/Huckabee. And don't feel vulnerable any longer.